Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 33 of my Let's Play series. Today I need to fix that big mistake I made yesterday when I let that combustion engine explode. I also have to check on my peat farm and definitely get a turborary, I think is what it's called, to process the stuff and pick it up. If I run over to my peat farm real fast, you'll probably notice I haven't been logged in since, I don't know, last time I did a spotlight video. So here we go. Let's get rid of this creeper right now. And you'll see that my peat, one thing has transformed. Alright, cool. So that's cool. Not much has happened, obviously. So let's head back to our base and look at reworking that system, which I did say I was going to do anyway, but, you know, I did kind of silly, goofy me, let that thing explode. Still beat myself up over that a little bit, but what are you going to do? So, let's get building. For the time being, I'm just going to place a teleport pipe here on frequency 0 with receiving true, and I'll hook up for myself a logistics pipe. This will give me access to all the good stuff I want to have. Now there's a little bit of lava up there hanging out, so let's first off get myself probably at least a full stack of smooth stone, maybe 2 stacks, to clean up this big old mess that I made. So let's get this stuff going. $128 ought to be good enough for now, and I should probably even get myself some glass. Let's see, how am I doing for glass? Do I have a little bit in here? Oh yeah, I have plenty. That should be good. So first thing I'll have to do is recreate my tanks. There we go. And let's get this guy sealed back up by placing the tanks there. Looks like I've got room for one more. And just as a spoiler alert to you guys, I will be trying to do this with almost entirely red power type machines. Now obviously I can't use red power here to, you know, pull the lava out of the ground, but hopefully I can use red power to distribute into my systems. So let's get all that good stuff going. And I might be able to do this a little bit more efficiently than I have been doing it before. There we go. Clean up all that mess that I had. And if I go ahead and open up these interfaces here, I'm just going to place some cobblestone in the top slot of the geothermal generator. This will ensure that no items go into the top slot. Perfect. Looks good. All nice and neat now. Next up, let's get some lava pumping back in here. Now we're going to need to grab ourselves another teleport pipe, along with a bunch of more cobble and smooth stone and such. So let's get this stuff back organized. And I'm going to need some teleport pipes. Let's see. I'm going to need this guy, one of you. And I'm going to need at least one of these. One of these. That should be good. Why not? And let all this stuff filter its way down. Remember I said I might move my pipe over there, that frequency 0 pipe? Yeah, maybe I should do that sooner rather than later as well. Why don't I go do that right now, actually? Let's find a good spot for frequency 0, that one. There we go. I don't like how long it takes for items to get to me. So if I were to go like out here for a moment, no enemies, that's a good sign. And maybe hook this guy up right along here. That's a perfect spot for it. Frequency 0, receiving true. So that should behave a little bit faster than what I've been used to. Should pull items out, especially items that don't need to be crafted, pretty much instantly. So that'll be nice. Now, where was I at? That's right, I want to take this item teleport pipe, make it a waterproof one, and we'll get the gold guy to sit right here. And we can sit this guy like so. That ought to be good. my lava pump that fed back into my base was water teleport, lava 3, and receiving true. Cool. And look, there comes some lava right now. Probably a little residual from the pump, had some energy left in it from before this thing blew up. Awesome. Let's also seal this wall back up here. Don't need this big old mess anymore. Oh look, things are starting to look a little bit normal once more. Hey, not bad at all. There we go. So far, so good. Now, let's figure out how we want to power this guy and prevent him from blowing up. I should also probably get some light going on here before I start having issues. And maybe I'll even throw down my ender chest in this room for a few minutes, just in case I want to mine up some of this copper. Appetite. And iron. I'll be back in a minute once I've cleaned all this up. There we go. Now I can just dump this stuff in here, and I know that it's going to filter its way through my system. Perfect. Now, how exactly do I want to build this? Well, obviously, I want to set up... I think I had my retriever guy in here. There it is, the filter. Request that, please. I'm also going to need a good amount of pneumatic tubing. Where is that stuff hanging out at? Oh, rest assured, I'll find it somewhere in here. There it is. Let's grab 64 of those guys. See how much quickly they come out? Yeah, definitely like that. Now let me think about my design for a moment. Alright. Whoops, didn't want to do that. What I want to do now, thinking my best approach for the moment, will be to first get another one of those deployers. Remember, those guys are what I was using to pick up the items out of the chest, or out of the tank. So there's my deployer. Okay. And that guy's going to hang out here just the way it was before. And I should get my screwdriver out. There it is. There we go. So that guy... Oops, not the filter. Where's my deployer? There it is. Filter goes right behind it, of course. There we go. Looking pretty good. I should get this floor straightened out a little bit, but I'll get to that in a moment. Is that the direction I want it to face? Yeah, that looks good. So we'll have a bunch of empty buckets in there. Let's grab, and I know I have some in my miscellaneous junk chest up there. I've got some buckets. Where are they at? There we go. 7 of them all do. Put all our buckets in there. Perfect. And now what I want to do is run the pneumatic tubes. We're going to set up the crafting system the way we had it just before, which was running into an empty chest. Maybe flatten this ground out just a little bit. So let's grab ourselves a chest, and we have an automatic crafting table on our person, which is nice. So chest there, automatic crafting table, which I brought with me from upstairs, and now we can craft our lava buckets. Now one thing I want to test real quick is I want to fill this guy up from the bottom real quick, just to make sure that this doesn't look too goofy. This will take a minute, so I'm going to do it off camera, but I also want to test something, which I'm pretty sure is the way it works, but I want to make sure. Alright, I'm going to get an item called a transposer, and I don't think I've used this item just yet. I just requested a piston, which I got, and I'm going to go ahead and create a transposer, which is a pretty interesting item from Red Power 2. There we go. Now, transposers are a Tech 1 item, as you can see by the crafting recipe. They used a lot of cobble and stuff, that's a good indication. Transposers have a bunch of different functions. Items falling in front of them will automatically be sucked in and sent through the tubing system on the back, which is not exactly what I'm going to be using this for, but it's a good example of how it works. See? Shot out the back into the tubing system. And it'll also do a couple other things. Now, the other thing that's interesting about this guy is, first off, dropping items in front of it doesn't necessarily cause it to pick them up. It has to literally be thrown into it. However, if there is an item in front of it, and you were to place down a redstone signal nearby, let's just get a redstone torch to demonstrate. It'll suck the items up, about 3 blocks wide in front. So that's cool. And if there's a chest in front of it, it'll pull one item out of the chest. Now here's the feature that I'm going to actually be using with this thing. Let's break it and put it over here. I'm going to put the transposer right here. Now the neat thing about the transposer is, first off, it's going to allow items to pass through it, as long as they have somewhere to go. If items don't have anywhere to go, it'll stop them from going through. So let's take our filter. Right now I'm going to place the empty bucket in the filter, saying you can pull empty buckets out here. Obviously not what I'm going to use normally. The transposer lets the item go through, right? Okay, all well and good. Now if I take a redstone torch and place it on this transposer, because there's a redstone light on it, it prevents items from going through. So what happens when we click this button now? Nothing. It's stuck. Dun dun dun. However, if I give it an alternate route to go, the items will go out that route. And because of the way the system works, pneumatic tubes that is, items will always go down the shortest path to a destination. So, right now I've set it up so that buckets will always dump out throughout the transposer, unless I've got a redstone torch there, or a redstone signal of any kind, in which case the items will not be allowed through there and will go down this direction. Ho ho ho, interesting, isn't it? Yes, very. Thank you. I thought it was cool after all. So let's get rid of these redstone torches and reset this system a little bit, because that's not exactly how it's going to work, but it's pretty close. So we'll put all our empty buckets back in our deployer now. So that's the system I've designed. And I'm going to let this system take a chest here and place it down. And then I'll put down my auto crafting table. And the auto crafting table is where I'm going to have an empty cell and a lava bucket. So let's get out our remote orderer and get myself an empty cell. I'll probably need a couple more buckets, so let's request 2 more of those and 1 industrial craft empty cell, which I should have around here somewhere. There we go. That works. Buckets, empty cells, everything's good. I'm going to leave these guys in here. I'm going to keep it full for now. But I need 1 at least, right? And I need to fill it with lava. Let's go throw it in this guy right here with his empty cell, and we get a lava cell. So now, this chest and this crafting table work pretty similarly to the method that I had going on before. And I should also probably grab a redstone engine, a wooden pipe, and, I don't know, a good handful of transport pipes, at least for now. That should be enough. Thank you, auto crafting system. Where's my redstone engine? Tick-tock. Time's a-wasting. Time's money. There it is. Thank you. We'll place that guy down with one of those redstone torches that I made a moment ago. See, I didn't waste them terribly. And for now, I'm not going to set this up because basically that's going to pump out, right? Cool. Now, let's see. Where do we want to go next with this system? Let me think this through for a minute. Now, let's look at another component of pneumatic tubes. I mentioned that they'll always go into the first available inventory, the shortest distance between 2 points, basically, right? What happens if there's an equal amount of distance? Right now, it can either go up or down. Which way will it choose? Well, interestingly, the way pneumatic tubes work is, if they have an even distance to travel, it'll evenly distribute the items between those 2 points. So, let's check it out. Boom. Now, well, looks like what's going to happen here is that this guy needs to go into the bottom. I can't pipe him into the top. That's not going to work out. Let's try this a little different route. I wonder what will happen if I do something like this. Pneumatic tube here. And this guy's going to come back out now because he's going to realize that he can fit. Let's do something like that. Will that work? Good question. Place our empty buckets in our deployer again. Nope, not going to work. Nowhere for them to go by going in the sides, huh? So, I guess our best bet here is to go something like this. Here, I wasn't sure if it would work going into the sides, and I guess not. So I'm going to have to think this through again for a minute. So give me just a moment. Okay, so I think this will work, right? I'm going to demonstrate this with some empty cells. So why don't I get about, I don't know, 16 of them or so. I should be able to find those in here awfully quick. There we go. I'm going to request 15. I've already got one on me. What I'm going to do is place them in the first slot of this deployer. There we go. Deployer. There you are. Now. Oh, right. There. Anyway, let's see what happens. See how it evenly distributed the items? Cool. That's exactly what I wanted to see. And the pneumatic tubes are intelligent. They'll always try and find the shortest path, right? So, let's send 4 empty buckets through. 5, why not? That's how many were in there. And it should go and evenly distribute the items. Okay, looking good to me. So now what I'm going to try here, let's just break this and let these guys fall out, is to try and set up a way to evenly distribute among all these systems. Let's see what we can do. Alright guys, so what I could do here is basically evenly distribute the distance of this pipe, but I really have no idea how to do that with 4 blocks like this in the pattern that I have. And maybe I could do something a little bit more complicated, but I decided I want to do this slightly differently. So I'm going to run pneumatic tubes like so, okay? And that should be cool. I'm going to run a system up here like this, and along here. And what this should accomplish is it should send items up here and into the geothermal generators, and down here into the geothermal generators. Let's test it real quick. So, how am I going to work this? First, I need to set this filter up, and I need another bucket here. I should have one somewhere along this path. Buckets, buckets, buckets. Maybe I used them all. Nope, still got a couple. Request one, please. Thank you. And I'm just going to say that the only thing that gets pumped out of here, filter, is a lava bucket. So only lava buckets can be deployed. Alright, let's test this system out now. Okay, now I do need a timer just to test this out properly. Why don't I go build one real fast? There we go, crafted up a timer real fast. Not bad. Let's throw this excess junk in here for now. At some point I really need to get those red power pieces into my auto crafting tables. It's a pain crafting those guys manually. One of these days. Alright, so let's grab some red alloy wire. I believe I brought some extra down with me, did I not? Yeah, I got a bit. That should be good. And I'll basically just set this up like so. Red alloy wire here, here, and here. And I'll set down my timer along with a lever. That should do just as a temporary system. So you can see, it's going to pulse, and it's going to pull out the lava buckets for me. And it should evenly distribute them, and the reason it's going to evenly distribute them right now is because they're not going to be able to go into a slot that already has a bucket. Perfect. And you'll notice noticed that the lava bucket tried to go down, realized it had nowhere to go in the bottom inventory, and wound up going up into the top. Much better. Sorry about the loudness. So, all evenly distributed, and all my lava gens should be running right now. Perfect. Exactly what I wanted to see. Now, let's do something a little different. Next, I want to probably set up something like this. I'm going to stop this system, because this is only temporary after all. There we go. And I'm going to build for myself a retriever. Yep, I think a retriever would be the right thing to build. So let's get our piping set up here and ready, and let's make sure I have everything I need to build a retriever. I'm just going to go build that off camera. You've seen me build it a few times. Alright, there we go. Got a retriever now. Okay, and I'm also going to grab out of here an empty bucket, and let's run down to our system. You guys should have figured out by now exactly what I was planning to do. I'm going to set up a system right here and grab a screwdriver. Now I've got a retriever here. I'm going to need to power it. Don't worry, I'll figure that out in a minute. And I'm going to go ahead and connect this guy like so. So I could have made that a little bit more compact, I'm sure, but that's alright. I'm going to tell the retriever that the only thing you're allowed to pull out of the system is empty buckets. That's what's in there. And if there's a lava bucket in there, it means this geothermal generator is full of lava, and it wasn't able to empty the lava out of the bucket, and we don't want it to pull the lava bucket out anyway. Now let's see what we can do about a battery. Alright, so one of the cool things added in Red Power 2 pre-release 4C, which is the latest version of Red Power 2, I don't think she was planning to release this yet, but she went ahead and did it because she couldn't get any power in the nether. So to resolve that, she gave us batteries. Woohoo! So let me get myself some nickelite around here somewhere. I'm sure I'll find it. It was probably back on this page, wasn't it? I should have tons of the stuff. It's just a matter of locating it. There we go. It's right over here. So let's grab 6 of those, please, actually, is what I needed. And if you guys remember, it's a little something like this. 10 and copper and 6 nickelite should get me a bluetricity battery. Now let's see if we can figure out how these machines work, huh? I'm going to run up here and check out this little battery box. Oh, cool. It's got some slots now. Let's see what happens. Hey, look at that. Charging up a battery. Perfect. And I could deposit the battery's power in here by just doing that. Neat. Works like a charm. So I guess I'm going to need one of these battery boxes, aren't I? Yeah, probably. So why don't I get myself a piece of silver? I'm going to need a good bit more of this nickelite stuff for now. And I'm going to need 3 iron, some copper, and some tin. What am I doing? Tin. Alright, just going to need a little blue alloy, so I need to throw this in here with 4U. And while I'm waiting, there we go. And hey, look, batteries are stackable now. Were they like that before? I can't remember. But anyway, now what I can do is something like this. Beautiful, a battery box. And I can go grab myself some red power, bluetricity wiring, which is, there it was. I'm only going to need at least 2 of those tops. Basically what I can do is power this system down here nice and neatly under the floorboards by placing this guy here, running some blue alloy wire up the wall, and let's give it a shot, huh? Charging it up, and yeah, look at that, the retriever doing its thing, ready to roll. Plenty of juice. I'm even going to go fill this up a little bit more, so don't mind me, I'll be just quickly filling it up. And I like how quickly the battery fills. I think that's pretty nice. Charge it back up, please. And my solar panels, of course, will recharge this battery box. I don't have anything to worry about there. Definitely have a lot more power than I need. The lower tier red power stuff doesn't use a lot of energy in particular. So this battery box should last me quite a while with my retriever. Alright, let's give it a shot. I'm going to throw down my timer here and set it to an interval of every, I don't know, 0.4 seconds. And it should pull all the empty buckets out of the system. There we go. All the empty buckets are being pulled right out. Now my geothermal generators are empty again and ready for some more lava. Perfect. Got a brand new item that I haven't shown you guys yet either. Let's see, I also need a couple pieces of brass, I think. Yeah, I'm going to need 4 of them. Where is my requester? Brass. Almost had everything I needed. I was super close, wasn't I? Alright, let me go craft some. Alright, so got my brass ingots here. Gonna do 2 of you, 2 of you. That stuff. And I also need 2 pressure plates. And they're gonna go right in the middle. This is the item detector. A neat little machine. And I also need another logic system. Alright, I'm crafting here a counter. Let's go see what Direwolf might be up to. Where am I at now? Right here. So, I want to maybe move this down just a little bit. And it's going to mean losing the power that it has in there, but that's alright. Might want to just rearrange this system a small bit. Let me think about it for a minute and just move things slightly. I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I'm just sliding this down a little bit. Right about here should be good. Let's charge them up with the battery I got for myself. Thank you very much. That should be good enough, like I said. Paste some blue alloy wire right here. That's a little bit deeper than I wanted it to be, but that's fine. Let me just get another piece out of my handy bag here that I've got. There we go. And we'll throw this stuff back in there, keep the red alloy wire out, looking good. And I can probably place down my retriever again. All I need to do is adjust it properly with the screwdriver. There we go, something like that. And another pneumatic tube. This just gives me a little bit more room here. Not bad at all. Okay, so, got my retriever. Should get a little bit more juice in there. Why don't I do that real quick? Now basically what I want to do here is have a system. If you guys were paying attention, you might have noticed that I have 8 empty buckets. And I've got 8 geothermal generators. Cool. And there's a couple different ways to take this approach, and I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to get my item detectors here, and I'm going to place one on each side. Probably something like here and here. Let's see how that works for us. That should be good, and items are going to be going in that direction there. And they should be coming in this direction here. And in the middle of that, I'm going to place my counter. And it should emit a redstone signal. I want the maximum count to be 8, increment by 1, and decrement by 1. So what's this going to do? The counter emits a redstone signal on either side whenever it reaches the maximum count. So something like this. So if I connect this wire here, notice that it's emitting a redstone signal right now. So I want to actually rotate it so that it does it like that, and this here. So right now, this block, the retriever, is being kept off by the counter. And this one can go ahead and filter out from the deployer. So let's turn on, again, my timer, and I'll put some red alloy wires here. I'll run them like so. And watch what happens if I turn this the correct way. Oh, I didn't something silly, that's for sure. Forgot to make the retriever only work on lava buckets. Oh, that's alright. Needed to be empty buckets, I'm sorry. Let me adjust this and I'll be right back. I forgot to do a quick setting or two. Alright, let's start getting ready to wire this guy up. I think this will make it easier for me to explain and have this working properly. This is going to be the lever that will control this system directly and make it pull items out and pump items around all over the place. And if I run this wiring down like so, I want it to go down here, but I don't want it to connect to that machine. So I'm going to craft for myself, not a stone cover as you might expect. I don't know if I've shown you guys this item yet, have I? I don't think so. Stone cover strips. Okay, they're pretty nice. They're a little bit nicer looking for stone covers when you don't want items to connect to redstone wiring and whatnot. So by placing that little strip right there, it's barely noticeable, but it's blocking that connection. Sweet. Probably want to put one here as well, and maybe even right here, just to make sure we don't have an interaction with that blue alloy wire. I don't think we will, but I think it'll be alright. We'll see what happens. And maybe I want to craft just some covers as well while I'm at it. Let's see, diamond handsaw. I'm going to get myself a few covers. There we go. And I'll put this cover up like so. And I think I can run red alloy wire up that cover, can't I? Yes, okay. So a strip like that. Now we're going to pretty much want to connect our timer. Where is he? There it is. Right like so. Okay. But we want to adjust it a little bit so that we can have... There we go. That's how we want the timer to work. And by flipping the lever down, it turns the timer off and stops it from pulsing. Cool. Now, let's run some cabling like this. That should pulse our retriever for us now when we flip the lever on. Is that true? Maybe not. I'm going to make it a half-second delay as well. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's pulsing. So let me get a change in plans here. Let's go ahead and break this guy, that guy, and I can run this guy like so. No, that's not going to work either. Let me think this through a minute. Alright, time to do a new item, because I figured out a way to do what I want to do. I'm going to need to grab my diamond handsaw again, and let's make some more of these covers, right? I'm going to actually need all 8 of them. So that's why I crafted some instead of using the 4 I had in my inventory here, or the 7 or whatever. And I'm going to take 1 red alloy ingot and put some covers around it. That's going to get me stone jacketed wire. What is this stuff? Stone jacketed wire is a type of redstone wiring that can be run independently. So this will emit and carry a redstone signal. Very cool. How am I going to use this? Well, I'm also going to use it in tandem with a redstone tube. A redstone tube is a pneumatic tube that will carry a redstone signal. Now remember, I'm trying to be a little bit compact and cool about this, so let's see how this works. If I put this guy here, the redstone tube like that, notice that the redstone tube looks like it's a little bit red. Then I can place my tubing like that, and where's my red alloy wire? There it is. Now, is that going to behave itself? Let's see. Not yet. So I might need to do something like this. Let me think about this a moment. There we go. I think that'll work. So now I've got my timer running over here. It's going to connect to this whatchamacallit stuff, stone jacketed wire, which will connect to the redstone tubing. Now redstone tubing does not emit a redstone current when an item goes through, it just allows redstone current to go through it. So let's see, turn this guy on, And look, my retriever's running. Perfect. Let's turn them off real quick. And let's also come over here and run some wiring like so. I want to hit up... How exactly do I want to do this? Tricky. Alright, I like this works pretty well for me. I'm just going to run it right along the wall here. Why not? Let's take advantage of the awesomeness of red power wiring, huh? Nice. Alright, so that will work like that. So now, I'm going to take my buckets out of here, because I don't want anything happening. Or you know what, I'll just take my lava buckets out, and I'll break this guy. So what'll happen is this will keep trying to pull lava buckets out for now, but there's none in there. So let's see what happens when we flip on our switch. Okay, so right now both machines are running. Not a big deal. And if I wanted to let this run and I didn't care about geothermal generators being evenly distributed, that's fine. This will work. What'll happen is lava will be pumped into the system. It'll go through my item detector and emit a redstone signal every time the item goes through, and it won't really do anything right now because I haven't applied anything with this just yet. But it'll send the lava buckets into my geothermal generators, and as soon as the lava is emptied out of the buckets, the empty buckets will be pulled out by my retriever right here. Cool. And the retriever will send and go right back into my deployer, the empty buckets, which will then pull lava out of this nice little guy here, and it'll go over and over and over again. However, it won't evenly distribute the items. So how am I going to set that up? Good question. I've got here a NOT gate and a counter. And I'm going to place down the counter like so. And I'm going to place down like this. And I'm going to place down like that. And if I set this up properly, I hope I did this properly, I guess we'll see. What I'm hoping to see happen here, and why don't I demonstrate it by placing this guy right here instead. Okay, so right now, that's the way I would want it to go, right? If I place down a lever on this side, yeah, see, that's backwards from what I want to happen. I want it to be more like this. See what the counter's doing is it's moving every time it receives a pulse. And I'm setting the maximum count to 8. And what'll happen is it'll emit a redstone signal after 8 pulses. Notice that these emit a signal as an item goes through. Get where I'm going with this? Alright, so on this side of the block, it'll start decrementing. And it'll emit a pulse once it hits back down to 0. Okay, so how can we use this? Let's see. I want my counter to be here like this. And I'm thinking that's probably the way I want it to work. And we'll have our maximum count 8. And we'll let this thing, the NOT gate, sit like that. Right? Alright, so I just broke my item detectors here just to demonstrate what will happen. As an item goes through here, it'll turn off this redstone signal the first time. And it'll continue to tick. And as items come through this side, it'll switch it back down, right? So I think that's the way we want it. Alright guys, I'm literally building this in my head as I go along here, and it's a complicated build, so I'm making a few mistakes as I go along, but I'm figuring it out as I go. Grabbing a toggle latch here, I'm pretty sure I'm going to need one of these, and hopefully I've got this system planned out the way I want it to work now. Let's run downstairs and check it out. I'm going to need to dig underneath the floor just a little bit, because this is going to be actually a rather complex-ish build. So I'm going to dig this guy down here, give myself plenty of room to work with. Let's get some light down here. Now, what I want to do is pretty much run myself some redstone wiring like so. I'm going to need my NOT gate, I'm going to need my toggle latch, I'm going to need my counter. I'm going to run redstone wiring down here, and down here. And this is where my item detectors will go. One like that, and I need to give them a good hit with the screwdriver. There we go. Items coming in through there and going there. And items coming through that way and going in there, right? Now, it'll emit a redstone signal every time an item goes through. So we definitely need a counter of some sort, right? Alright, so our counter starts at 0, and we want the maximum count to be 8. So what'll happen is, as soon as it pulses, it's going to switch it off, and then it's going to count all the way up to 8. And once it gets to the 8th digit, or 8th item going through, it'll turn on a pulse over here. And then as items go through this pipe, it'll start to decrement and do the same kind of deal. Okay, so we want to run our wires down here like that and like that. This will get the item detectors to trigger the counter every time it runs, and the counter is still set to 8. Now we need these wires going out the sides here, and I need them to go along this route, I think. So that's going to be an issue. So let's get some blockers here. That'll behave itself a little bit better. I'm just going to throw down a redstone pulse here just to make sure that this thing, there we go, right where I want it to be. Okay, nice and set at 0. Cool. Now, let's see. I'm thinking I basically want this guy to come together out here. Okay, and this should come together on my toggle latch. And what a toggle latch does is it flips its inputs and outputs. So let's see, right now it's doing this. I need this guy here like that. Okay. So every time it receives a signal, it's going to swap its output. Oh, wrong guy. Alright, this guy needs to be rotated like so. That's probably what we want, right? There we go. That looks pretty cool. Now, the way this guy's currently set, I want a redstone pulse to be applied, or a steady redstone signal that is, to my retriever so that it can't pull items out. And let's make sure we've got a blocking system here. I don't want there to be a redstone signal going to my filter. Alright, so if I've set this up properly, what should happen is, as soon as we pulse up to the number 8, it should flip this latch, and it should allow the retriever to start retrieving items, and it should stop the filter from pulling items out. Let's give it a test. I really have no idea if this is going to work. But let's turn it on and see what happens, shall we? Alright, activating the system. Let's make sure that, number 1, we have enough empty buckets in here. We do not. Where are my empty buckets at? Missing a couple, missing a couple. You know what? I think I had them as lava buckets. Yeah, there they are. So we'll put them in there. And what we should see happen is, notice that only, oh, I have to apply this as well, the lava buckets are currently moving. And as soon as the 8th item goes on, the retriever starts running, and it stops this machine from running at all. And it starts retrieving all my empty buckets. And once the 8th bucket goes back through the system, Watch what happens on the right side of the screen now. Okay, see how it stopped the retriever again? And it turned back on this guy. And all geothermal generators should be running soon. Oh, nope. Not quite running fast enough. Because, okay, we're going to need a little bit of a delay there. So let's turn this system off. And I'll be back in a minute once I've implemented a little bit of a delay. Alright, so I'm trying a repeater down here. You can see that I've currently got it set to about a 5-second delay. So let's see how that works. So I'm going to try this little system again. Hopefully it's not too loud. So deployer's ready to roll. Timer's ready, counter's good, everything's ready. Let's do this thing. Okay, so a few second delay. Not quite enough, I don't think. Let's see, how do we make out? Yep, I definitely need a longer delay than that. So let's go ahead and increase this guy. And let's see what that does now. There we go. So close. Looks like we're going to need one more click. We're going to have to probably go with the max delay, maybe. So that should be good now. So it should turn on before those things get in there, hopefully. No, maybe not. Nope, not quite. Still a little bit off time. I might need another repeater down there. Alright, so I clicked this guy 7 times. He's one short of where he was a moment ago. And this guy I clicked twice, and that's just a little bit longer of a delay. So let's see if my timing system wants to flow properly now. Let's give these geothermal generators a moment. I want to let them finish doing what they're doing, and then I'll turn it on and we'll see how much luck we have. I'm also going to go get some more lava. Alright, not wanting to wait for these guys too long and really wanting to test this, I just knocked this line off here so that the deployer can now pull out empty buckets just as well as it can pull out lava buckets. And it won't create lava buckets because I knocked that guy off. Let's see what happens. Alright, so we should get some buckets going through here. We've got 8. And hopefully my timing is right and all the items should land in there before it's ready to start pulling again. Nope, still a little bit slow. So let's bump this guy up a couple more clicks. 2 more and we'll see what happens. Alright, 8 of them flow through here. Alright, I just reset the system. It was acting a little bit funny because of the retriever running before it was ready. Because it's able to pull empty buckets and those are what are flowing through this system, it's acting a little bit funny. So let's try this again. Alright, I need to reset. Let's throw in an empty bucket or 2. Let me get it properly reset. Alright, I think I've got the timing right, so let's go ahead and make this a lava bucket filter again. I'll make this guy active and let's give it a whirl. Alright, here goes the lava buckets. And if everything's timed properly, they should all land in here before they start pulling out the empty buckets. There we go, perfect. Nice. I like the looks of that. And then the retriever grabs everything it needs to grab, and then the lava buckets go through again. And the retriever's running right now, but that's okay. It should switch off before the items get down there, and it does. And then the items get pulled out. Nice. I think that's a perfectly timed system at the moment. Now if we run down here and take a quick look, we can see that it was around the 7 mark on this guy, and I want to say that's the 6 click mark on that guy. So that's about where it wound up being. And it looks like the system is perfectly evenly distributing again. Ta-da! Everything's running great. So that is pretty cool. No longer am I using tin in my system, and as far as I can tell, everything seems to be running pretty smoothly. All I really need to do is make sure I have enough battery power in my retriever here, but that's easy enough to refill whenever I need to. And the battery box down there is doing fine. If I really wanted to worry about it, I could always go and grab some solar panels or something, but I think we're good right now. Very cool. And let's maybe see this one more time from behind. We can see all the lava buckets coming towards the geothermal generator system. And because pneumatic tubes are intelligent enough, they'll say if one inventory is full, just move on to the next. And the timing is just right so that the retriever starts pulling things just as the last lava bucket goes into the chest, or into the geothermal generator. Then all the empty buckets come back, the retriever shuts off as soon as the 8th lava bucket goes through there, and everything's good. Alright guys, one last tweak to the system before I wrap up this hour-long episode that it turns out to be. I'm getting 5 red stone wires. Stone red wires here were created, as you just saw, with the stone wafer and red alloy wire instead of red stone itself. And then we'll put some wafers around the corner here and get ourselves a null cell. If I remember correctly, this is going to handle exactly what I want to do. So, I've now got the system running, but remember in the way beginning of this episode, long time ago, I set up this thing here, right? If I want to make lava cells for whatever reason, I could do it by just releasing this redstone signal, right? Right. So let's go ahead and get a NOT gate here and place them like so. Perfect. And grab ourselves a stone cover strip and just run this guy like that, just in case. Yeah, that should be cool. Now what I'm going to do here, you can see I already broke this piece off here. I'm going to place down some yellow. So everything's pulsing, but this line break here prevents the system from actually doing anything. I'm going to run this as a yellow cable. There we go, system stops. And let's get another one of those little cover strips. Place it like that. And let's go with green here. And where's our red alloy wire? There it is. Like that, and green, right? Now I don't want this guy to interfere, so let's place a cover strip there. And I basically want this to run up and go along like this. And I'm going to place a null cell here. And what that's going to do, basically, is allow... There we go. That's cool. That's not exactly what I wanted to do. Let's do it like that, and a cover strip there. Alright, so what the null cell is going to do for me, I could even... Yeah, I'm going to keep this like this. I know, I just lost my sword. Yell at me about it. I can now place a lever on this wall. And the lever will adjust that NOT gate and allow items through. And the null cell basically lets you cross boundaries here, like so these guys are at an intersection, but they're not affecting each other in any way. See that? So it's just a way to compact your little system. So this switch now is preventing items going through when it's up. So if I were to get a sign here, this can be lava cells. Up equals off, down equals on, right? So if I flip it down and turn on my pulsing system again, buckets should flow right through. Cool. Now, of course, I need to set something up to pull empty buckets out and feed them back in. I'll take care of that probably next episode. This episode's been long enough, I think. But you get the gist. So I'm just going to clean up in here, nothing too exciting. You won't be missing anything. Just tidying up a little bit. Alright guys, I said I was going to clean up and wrap up this episode, but why don't I actually just change everything about how my entire system works? I can't stand the fact that this is just a little bit uneven. So let me just pull some junk up here. I'm going to run upstairs, and you should see me getting ready to build the system that you've seen me build a few times before. In order to do that, I'm going to need 5 more iron ingots. That should be good. Okay, going to put a filter down. I'm going to use the filter I had down there. I'm going to grab my iron ingots, like so. Red doped wafers on the sides, and a blue alloy ingot that I decided to craft. Okay, that's going to give me a sorting machine. You guys are familiar with the sorting machine. I've used it quite a few times. So, of course, since I'm using a sorting machine, I'm going to have to go ahead and get some power going for it. So basically what happened is, I wasn't totally loving how this system worked. I mean, it worked, and it looked really cool, and it was complicated, and it was neat, but in the end, it wasn't as functional as I wanted it to be. So, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of these item detectors. I'm not even going to use them, to be honest with you. I'll dismantle this whole system down here, and I'm just going to replace pneumatic tubes right here, so that stuff all looks good. And then here's where I'm going to place my sorting machine, right? Okay. I want it to be something like that. And let's just get our screwdriver so that I can reorient things. There we go. That looks cool. Okay, so how am I going to do this with a sorting machine, you might ask? Let's knock out some stuff here. I don't need any of this anymore. So I'll just clean it all up in a bit. But for now, I just need to make sure I can get over to the... There it is. Electricity wire. And there we go. Did I connect that guy all the way? No. There we go, much better. That. Alright, starting to charge up. And a good amount of power in the battery box. These things really don't use much energy. So let's see. What I want to do is grab for me some lava buckets. So let me clean up my inventory real quick. Alright. So let's make these guys lava buckets real quick by grabbing some red alloy wire here. I'm only going to activate this guy with the lava bucket system. And all that's going to do is fill up my buckets for me. Cool. Sorry, meant for that to be off. Okay. What'd I do? Knock something off here? Yeah, I did. Ha! Look at that. Making a mess. There we go. All fixed. Now, next steps will be to grab these 8 lava buckets and place them in here, like so. Perfect. And I'm going to assign on this guy a color each. So let's make one yellow, one purple. That looks like purple. Need a blue and a brown and an orange. There's blue, brown, orange, darker green. Gonna get a red and a black. That should be cool. Now let's go paint our wires, or our cables, our tubes. Okay, and as you can see, I just painted all the pneumatic tubes here to match the colors that I just placed into my system, the sorter here. So now what should happen is I need to get some more buckets real quick. It looks like I'm going to need about 7 more of those. Alright, just crafted myself some empty buckets. Let's throw them into this deployer and flip the system back on. Lava bucket system. Okay, so we've got some lava buckets now. Let's go ahead and just to test this. Now you'll notice that my retriever is going to be running continuously and it'll never stop. So that's not a problem. How am I going to ensure that this is evenly distributed is pretty simple. The sorting machine is currently on the first mode, which is any stack sequential, which means it'll sequentially move down the line and try to fulfill something in the stack. Since the only thing in the stack is the lava bucket, and I've got a separate color assigned for each line, it's going to go progressively along. Let's connect the power here, and you'll note that this little bar is moving across like so, and it assigned different colors to each lava bucket, which means that each lava bucket is now going to go into the respective slots. And the retriever will automatically pull them out. And I can just get this powered back up again. And we don't have to worry about timers or counters or any more complicated things. I thought it was going to be easier to do without a crafting table. Now that this is on, let me adjust my sound again. So I thought it would be easier to do without the sorting machine, but it turns out it wasn't quite as easy as I thought it would be able to do. I mean, we had to get all complicated and crazy, and eventually I just got to the point where I said, alright, this system is way too complicated. I do not want this system to be as complicated as it is, so I decided, let's clean it up, let's make it simple, let's go ahead and just use that sorting machine. So as you can see, the sorting machine made it a lot easier. We didn't have to do any of this timing or craziness. You can see I tried a couple different attempts off camera as well, but in the end, you know, simpler is better. So that's what I wound up going with. So I'm just going to clean up the mess that I made downstairs. For now, we've got an even distribution system without any crazy timers or any of that weird stuff. All it is, you know, coloring the lines with a sorting machine. So yeah, it requires a little bit more of Red Power 2 powering, but oh well, what you gonna do? Nice and balanced system, everything's working great. So for real this time, this is Direwolf20 signing off on episode 33. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take it easy.